The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys!
This is Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Invisalign, trusted by over 500 NFL players for their winning smiles, and broadcasting live from Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star.
All right, welcome into Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Invisalign. And as you can see, it's just two of us starting with your morning because this Friday's a little bit crazy, guys. Christy Scales will be joining us. She's en route, and Nicole Hutchinson has the day off. But we're going to get right into it. Me and Aisha are going to hold it down till the rest of the crew arrives here. And on the call, we have Ashley Washburn. She is a reporter in Green Bay who does an amazing job covering the Packers. And Ashley, welcome to the show. Thank you for being up with us bright and early on this Friday morning.
Thank you, ladies, for having me. Like I was saying off the phone, this is awesome that you guys do this. Women deserve a space in sports, and we've got a big game to talk about this upcoming Sunday, which is just insane to think about.
It is very insane because if you would have told me that the Cowboys were going to be preparing for a Green Bay Packers team led by Micah Parsons in Week 4, I probably would have thought you were just kidding. But that is real life. That's where we're at. And, you know, both of our teams here, they're coming off some losses that were, for us, I know, our offense only put up 14 points. They were expected to go out there and win after that big win against the Giants. And sounds like Green Bay has got a little punch in the mouth there by the Browns. So just talk to us about what this game is feeling like in that locker room and how hungry they are coming into AT&T Stadium after that loss.
Yeah, you know, whether or not, I know Micah Parsons, when we had an opportunity to talk to him on Wednesday, is saying that he's coming into this game like any other game, which, you know what, I don't believe you, Micah, but that's okay. But yeah, I think there's a lot of people in the locker room that want to win this game for Micah. But also on top of that, you just mentioned coming off that Week 3 game against the Browns where they not only got punched in the mouth, but I think really humbled because there were a lot of viral things leading up in that week of, you know, some players saying that the Packers think that they can go undefeated, win a Super Bowl, which I still think winning a Super Bowl, like this is a Super Bowl caliber team. But, you know, they got humbled real quick by the Browns and opened up some weak spots, things that they need to clean up. And so this is not only an opportunity to go down to Dallas in prime time, win for Micah Parsons, but also get back in the win column knowing that they have a bye week on the other side of this. And last thing you want to do is go down to 2-2 and then have to wait 2 more weeks to play football.
Yeah, actually, the Cowboys have recently got hit with the injury bug a little bit this past week, losing Tyler Booker, their rookie right guard, rather. And then obviously CeeDee Lamb. Can you talk about that injury report from yesterday? It's quite
like
a few humans on you guys' side. What are the vibes, and can you confirm anything that's going on with some of the guys on that offensive line as well?
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I was sitting on my couch last night and I was taking I knew the injury report had come out earlier in the day, but actually deep diving on it. And I was like, dang, this is a laundry list of injuries for the Packers. Let's just dive into the offensive line, what you mentioned, because I would say that's really probably the biggest glaring spot is there was some kind of controversy in that Week 3 game just in terms of the Packers' right tackle, Zach Tom, coming back because he did tear his oblique in Week 1 against the Lions. And to come back 2 weeks later, he was limited all week heading into that Browns week. So it's one of those situations a lot of people were wondering, okay, is this guy actually okay to play? And literally on the first offensive snap, he comes out of the game because it's not feeling right. And he was super emotional on the sidelines. I'm not sure if you saw that video. So immediately a lot of people's eyes are thinking like, oh, gosh, what did the Packers do? Like, how long is this out? And, you know, is it worse? Is he going to be out for the entire season? Thankfully, this week, Matt LaFleur was saying it didn't get worse. It's just one of those situations where you don't actually realize if it's fully healed or not until you get into one of those game-like atmospheres where you're going at a game level. And so, I mean, he's still listed as in DNP through 2 days. I don't expect him playing tomorrow or practicing today and playing on Sunday. Aaron Banks, the left guard, also listed as a DNP. could see him out, which, Aaron Banks has been a guy that the Packers had got this offseason. There's a lot of excitement towards him, but he has battled a handful of injuries throughout the preseason training camp and, could be missing his second game with the Packers. So, that's a chance that you're going to see two guys down on that offensive line, which really was one of the biggest glaring spots in that Week 3 game against the Browns. I mean, the penalties were ridiculous. There's so much shuffling on that offensive line. And, I think if there's one bright spot, not to necessarily come at the Cowboys, is the Cowboys don't have one of the best defenses in the NFL this season.
It's okay, we know.
So,
They took the D out of Dallas. You didn't hear?
They took the D out of
to say it lightly. But one of the things that we just really haven't seen the Packers get going this year is their rushing game. And, this is coming from off a season where Josh Jacobs put up numbers that, the Packers haven't seen in a very long time because they're not necessarily known as a run-first team, which is what they were last year. So I think there's opportunity there this season or this week specifically to get that run game going, and especially the pass game. I mean, the first 2 weeks there was a lot of positives on that Packers offense, but, man, Jordan Love, no one could get anything going against the Browns in Week 3, which is why you saw the outcome as it was. So I would say that those are really the two biggest injuries. Nothing specifically on the defensive side. It looks like we actually are gaining people back. I think Devontae Wyatt was listed as limited to start the week, but he was a full participant yesterday. So it's more so just the offensive line that's a little scary going into Sunday. But I will also say that Aaron Banks, Zach Tom were out in Week 2 against the Commanders, and we saw what the Packers did there in prime time. So it'll be interesting to see how they are able to clean things up in Week 4.
Javon Bullard, saw that he was in concussion protocol earlier this week, listed as limited yesterday. That safety room really, helps that secondary. How is he? What is your feeling about him? Any reports as of late on him?
Yeah, I was looking back at that Week 3 game, and the second he took that hit, I mean, everyone was running out towards him because you just immediately knew that he was going to be in concussion protocol after that. The fact that he's limited is a great, what's the word I'm looking for, is a great sign going into Sunday. Do we see him play on Sunday? I think we'll wait and see once that injury report comes out today and we get that designation. I could see him absolutely listed as questionable whether or not he gets out of that concussion protocol. But, there were a lot of questions that were asked about Javon earlier this week to Matt LaFleur about just, what he brings to this team in his second year. And the Packers are high on him because of what he can do on that defense. They move him around so much. And so, that's a guy that you want to see out on the field on Sunday, especially, even though I would say that the Cowboys defense hasn't been great yet, your guys' offense is a bright spot, even minus CeeDee Lamb not going to be playing on Sunday. There's still so many weapons. Dak Prescott, obviously, coming into this year, wanting to make up for lost time after missing part of the year last year. And so if you can have a guy like Javon Bullard there again who just wreaks havoc on defense, that only helps the Packers. But we'll see if he ends up practicing today or not. Haven't necessarily heard anything about what that injury designation is, but we all know that the NFL doesn't play about concussions. So if there's even an inkling that he's still battling through that, then he won't play on Sunday.
Thank you.
And then just kind of looking at, like you said, no CeeDee Lamb, right? That's a big one. The Cowboys are without 3 offensive starters. But CeeDee Lamb is the name that everyone knows, and that's the name last year that people were saying, okay, we just have to stop CeeDee Lamb, and then the rest of the offense kind of is plateau. But that's hopefully not what is happening here this season. Last game was kind of hard to tell. They just couldn't find the spark. But I was just curious, what's kind of like the talk on the next man up or who they have to start since CeeDee Lamb's not up? I know Pickens is like what people see as the number 2, but then like you mentioned, there's other weapons like Jake Ferguson, a Kevontae Turpin, a couple other people that have been brought up like Flanoy, Jalen Tolbert's been kind of quiet. But what's just kind of like the game plan that's been talked about of who has to be stopped in this offense? Or is there even a threat that the Packers are worried about? Because like you said, the offense was really what was the problem last week. That defense played well for 57 minutes at least.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you mentioned George Pickens, and that's a name that I've just heard thrown around in the Packers locker room on Wednesday when I was up there. It was interesting hearing Micah Parsons talk. I was one of the pool reporters that was in there. So they kind of, obviously Micah Parsons is the hottest guy in town in terms of everyone wants to hear from him. So they kind of limit the media that can be there, and then we share that pool information after. And was hearing him talk about going into this game on Sunday, and he just mentioned that specifically on the offensive line, he's like, these are guys that I helped all training camp. Like, I was teaching them how they can get around me and wreak havoc, and vice versa. Like, I know how these guys can play all these different things. But he was so high on CeeDee Lamb, and I'm sure you've seen some of that on social media of, like, he's kind of happy that CeeDee Lamb's not playing in this game because not only obviously CeeDee Lamb and Micah Parsons just have a fantastic friendship and relationship. He's like, I don't know, how I would have interacted knowing that you have a guy like CeeDee Lamb on the other side who, is not only somebody who I respect in this game, but also somebody who is so close to him. But other people he'd mentioned is George Pickens, and then just also interested to see what you guys do in your run game as well. Packers obviously have been great defensively across all the boards, especially in stopping the run, which I know that if we really want to talk quickly about Kenny Clark, because I think people are forgetting that this is also, Kenny Clark's first game
it's a big deal for him
against
too.
his former team. And what I just find, there's a lot of excitement around Kenny specifically because, I was on the Packers sidelines for their preseason broadcast and had an opportunity to interview Kenny in game on that third preseason game. And one of the things we talked about was just him being the veteran on that Packers team at the time. I mean, he called Green Bay home for nearly a decade and had an opportunity to be in a Zoom call with him yesterday. And he was saying, how it's one of those things. He had heard the trade rumors about, maybe Micah Parsons becoming a Green Bay Packer, as we all were seeing lead up. We didn't know actually how that saga was going to unfold, but it was one of those situations where, okay, you see the trade rumors, but never in his mind are you expecting that I'm going to be a part of the equation to make that trade rumor happen. So I think that's also somebody on the defensive side that there's a lot of people excited to see, if I just was going to throw that out there, just because he was such a loved guy in the community, not just for what he did on the field, but off the field. And I'd say that's one of the beautiful things about Green Bay is it's such a small community. So you are running into these players at your local grocery store or, at the park or whatever it may be, just because it's such a small community, like in comparison to Dallas.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up Kenny Clark because that was actually the last question of his presser was, do you feel like the unforgotten man?
You hear me?
I said, oh, did he just say that? And I was just like, but
yeah,
he said,
right?
he answered it how he was supposed to, he was a surprise to anybody else. He said, I heard there was a trade. I didn't know I was in it. And I thought I was like, buddy, but I mean, he's coming here, he's playing his butt off. And that's what he said, he's going to continue to do and let the storylines and the narratives write themselves. So Kenny Clark is definitely kind of like the man in the fire on what everything has happened, but he's totally, been a reason why at least the Cowboys are able to
defend the run.
Yes, okay, something that we haven't been able to say a lot.
Last time. So what happened like the 4 TDs from last time. So yeah, I think my biggest concern is listening to some of the pressers from last week and everything. It felt like, and then looking at the film, that Matt LaFleur was a little bit more careful dealing with that Cleveland defensive line. You guys' offense is heavily reliant and highly dictated on play action and things like that. Do you expect for them to come out and be a little bit more aggressive this game? What's the vibe that you're getting? Because it felt like they were a little pissed off listening to some of the pressers and stuff this week. And I don't know if that's a good thing for the Cowboys. It seems like the Cowboys also at a place to where they're trying to, fix some things. But what is the vibe that you're getting from the offense specifically and how they want to come out this game and kind of set the tone?
Yeah, I mean, I think you kind of said it point blank, like they laid an egg against the Browns. I mean, you saw all of those money lines and everything going into that game. It was expected that the Packers were going to go in there and do business because, that defense that the Browns have is elite. And I think next to the Packers, whoever you want to rank first, those are the top two defenses in the NFL right now. But you look at the offensive side and you're like, okay, Joe Flacco, 40-year-old quarterback. At the time, he had thrown more interceptions than he had touchdowns. Like, this should be quick work for a Packers defense, which, for the most part, when you look at the stats of what the Packers defense has been able to do through those 3 weeks, I mean, nobody has scored a touchdown on them, but they haven't been able to close out games because you look at that fourth quarter and other teams are outscoring them. I think it's 35-20 through these 3 weeks. So they've got to learn how to close out games. But that Packers offense, I mean, you can't have your quarterback be on his back 5 times in a game. And that's what glares on that offensive line. That pass protection needs to be better. I think the Packers knew that the Cowboys were coming in with a strong D-line, but Matt LaFleur was blunt. It was like, even though we knew they were good, I don't think we knew that they were that good because they put so much of an emphasis on Myles Garrett that, that rookie on that D-line, they didn't give him enough attention. And when that came to game time, I mean, it was just that entire D-line that was just going to work. And it doesn't help when you have 2 starters on that offensive line because Aaron Banks ended up leaving that game. And like I was saying, there was a lot of shuffling, which something interesting, and, it's more so looking at the intricacies where I don't know if many people at home noticed it, but when Zach Tom went out of the game, there were a lot of people that were expecting either Anthony Belton or Kennard to go in at right tackle because that's who had been kind of practicing there in training camp and everything, and then they ended up putting in Jordan Morgan, who hadn't practiced there all training camp, and Jordan Morgan, on paper, did not have a very good game. I want to say he had 2 false starts. And so that's also been a conversation this week about, are the Packers spreading him too thin? Because, that's the guy who the Packers picked him in the first round 2 years back. And they have not found a home for him on that offensive line, which I don't think helps the chemistry and consistency when you don't have a guy who can just call a certain spot home. Granted, I know the Packers offensive coordinator said yesterday, that's kind of the reality of the situation when you're not a starter. You go in where we're needed. But even then, I think there's just a lot of consistency and communication that needs to be built on that offensive line because I'll even say, and I know the other beat reporters noticed it too, when we were just watching drills on Wednesday, and, this is just drills, we were seeing false starts in practice, and it's like, you practice how you play. You guys have got to clean that up come Sunday. So I don't know. I know from our perspective as a media, we're the vibes are, this team could be a Super Bowl team, but you also can't be committing 14 penalties in a game. And a lot of it was on the offensive side. They've got to clean that up. And this offense knows that as well. And they also know that they've got a target on their back, especially when people start throwing Super Bowl contender around. You got to start playing like a Super Bowl contender. And so there's an opportunity, of course, to come in on Sunday. It's a Micah Parsons homecoming, but at the same time, you've got to handle business because when you look at the stat sheet, there is no reason for the Packers to not walk out of AT&T Stadium with a win. But we also know that games aren't won on paper. So we'll see what happens on Sunday.
Well, Ashley, thank you so much for joining us this morning. You have been dropping a lot of knowledge, and you can't see, but our one and only Christy Scales just arrived, and she's had one heck of a morning. Poor Christy, but she made it. So I know she kind of touched up on the injury report a little bit on what's happening. Looks like the defense is getting healthier. I don't know if that's good news for the Cowboys. Probably not.
No, it's not. It's definitely not.
And they are also downplaying a little bit the Micah Parsons thing, but she did say that the team wants to get this win for him. So
absolutely. And then just it's really been a Packer takeover the last several times that the Cheeseheads have come here to Dallas, and
they travel.
No, they do. And I guess my question is, of all of the places where the fans for the Packers really show out, is Dallas one of those as much as any place? I mean, it may be a little further to travel than some of the other ones close to the Midwest or within the division, but what has the attitude been within Packer Nation in regards to coming down to Arlington and really showing out?
Oh, yeah. If there's one thing, and I'll say I'm not a Wisconsin girl through and through. I grew up on the West Coast, which I think sports are so different out west versus in the Midwest. And I have learned that Packer fans will travel anywhere and everywhere. They've got an international game. You can promise that there is a strong contingency of Packer fans. But, yeah, I would expect a huge fan base at that game on Sunday, especially just because of the extra added layer of Micah Parsons being there. I actually went by just the pro shop earlier this week. My station wanted me to ask a question about jersey sales because, the second that Micah Parsons was traded, they were just bombarded of when are you guys getting jerseys? There are so many people that have bought into Micah because I think it shows you what that Packers front offense thinks about this team. I mean, they're going all in. It's a time to win, and what they needed was that winning player, and that's Micah Parsons. I don't know if you guys called it the Micah Parsons effect, but that's what it's been dubbed as in Green Bay of just, he's still limited. I think we'll see him at his full snap ability come Sunday, but just the attention he draws has just allowed other players to cook on that defensive side of the ball, specifically Rashawn Gary. And so Packer fans have been paying, I don't even know if you guys have been up to Green Bay. It's one of the most incredible things when you are driving to Lambeau Field because you're literally in a neighborhood and all of a sudden you just have this insane historical stadium. And especially with it being Halloween now, people are putting up decorations outside their house and, some people have put out skeletons and it's Micah Parsons, quarterbacks, he's sacked or it's just, there's so many people that have bought into Micah Parsons. There's murals of him in Green Bay already. So I can promise you that there will be a bunch of Packer fans at AT&T on Sunday, especially like you've mentioned, Christy, that, the Packers actually haven't lost at AT&T Stadium since that game or since that stadium has been built.
Right. Includes their Super Bowl.
We know. Believe me.
Drama.
Yeah. So, I mean, the Packer fans and players know that they've had a lot of success in that stadium, and they're hoping they can keep that going because not only do they know that they're trying to right a wrong from that Week 3 loss, but they also know that you guys are also trying to get back on the winning side as well. So primetime always brings out an extra edge in both teams as well as fans. So I'm expecting it to just be extremely loud, which I will say I had walked by practice on Wednesday when they closed it off, and the Packers were pumping crowd noise. They know that place is going to be loud come Sunday. And so knowing that they had so many issues in terms of false starts and communication, they are trying to get ahead as much as they can because, it's probably going to be hard to hear play calls and all that stuff come Sunday.
Wow. Well, and also I'm just picturing over the next several weeks as we get closer to Halloween, all of the little young trick-or-treaters wearing number one Parsons jerseys. I wonder if that's going to be the number one costume there among Packers fans in Wisconsin and beyond.
Might be like a 50-50 split of what's
There's no doubt. I mean,
they'll all be dressed as Micah.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's something, and Dallas and Texas in general, obviously that state and region just has such an affinity for football, and so there's a lot of people down there that also, eat, sleep, breathe, pray over their football team, which is what you see out here in Wisconsin. And yeah, I mean, there are so many people that even this trade still hasn't sunk into some of them where I'm, walking on the street and people just want to come up and talk about Mike Parsons because they just still can't believe it, which I love because I couldn't believe it when I was sitting in my office. And I think I came into that day expecting that something could happen, but I wouldn't say we've really ever seen the Packers take a huge swing like this. So there was also part of us that wasn't expecting, if Micah wasn't playing for the Cowboys, do we really think he'll be playing for the Packers? And then, we all get that tweet notification from Schefter, and I literally ran out of the newsroom. I'm like, guys, we got to go on. Micah Parsons is a Packer.
Well, hey, just on the other side of it, Ashley, yeah, we got hit up with all the questions too. It was just going the opposite direction. Well, hey, thank you so much for taking all the extra time to share with Cowboys Nation the perspective there. Ashley, that you have with TMJ Sports. I've enjoyed watching your work this week, and especially the feature that you did on Micah, trying to downplay his coming back here, his homecoming. But we know on the inside that he wants us to be the best one ever. So we wish you continued success this season. And if all goes well, maybe we can do this again in the playoffs, right? These two teams.
I would love that. I'm sure Cowboy fans would love to see the Packers in the playoffs again.
Thank you again, Ash. We really appreciate you. And
awesome. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you. We'll take our first break. This is Girls Talk, Boys Talk. We'll be right back.
How does the cheerleader's hair always look so perfect? We asked, and they shared one of their biggest beauty secrets. If you want hair like theirs and confidence to match, use Babyliss Pro styling tools. The Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders use Babyliss Pro curling irons to get those perfect game day curls. To get the hair you see on the cheerleaders, head to BabylissPro.com. Use the code Cowboys20 for 20% off Babyliss Pro tools, the official styling tools of the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Get the discount while it lasts. Offer may be withdrawn at any time at advertiser's discretion.
When you're on the field, you know what it takes to lead your team and play with confidence. But that confidence shouldn't just stop at game time. It should follow you off the field, too. Join over 500 NFL players who trust Invisalign, the #1 doctor-recommended clear aligner brand. Ready to take the first step towards a smile you'll love? Visit Invisalign.com/NFL and find a doctor near you today. Transform your smile and take your confidence to the next level, both on the field and off.
Discover Aiden, the official luggage partner of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Known for top-tier engineering and craftsmanship, Aiden offers more than just bags. Originating from Australia and designed in New York, it merges fashion, design, and culture. Used by Dallas Cowboys players, staff, and the entire organization, Aiden provides style and functionality for all travelers. Visit AidenTheBrand.com and use code AidenXCowboys for 25% off your purchase. Travel like your favorite stars with Aiden.
All right, Cowboys fans, this one's for us. If the men in your life bleed blue and silver like we do, I've found the perfect way to elevate their game day rituals. Gillette just released their best razor in Cowboys colors, and it is everything a Cowboys fan could want. The new Gillette Labs official Dallas Cowboys licensed razor combines his Cowboys pride with Gillette's best shave. And with 50% longer lasting blades, it is truly the gift that keeps on giving. Get it while you can at Gillette.com/NFL. Gillette's best shave is also available as heated.
Are you a Cowboys super fan? The search is on for the 2025 Fan of the Year presented by Captain Morgan. Now through September 29th, nominate extraordinary NFL fans, dynamic duos, and game changers who rep the Cowboys with pride and turn every game day into an unforgettable adventure. You could be sent to Super Bowl 60. Enter to win at NFL.com/Fan of the Year today.
Do they allow trios?
Let me see, Christy.
Gonna have to.
Somebody asks me that question every week. It's so funny.
Let me see. Christy is crazy.
No. Just want to see if we have a shot.
I feel like
if
we
not,
can.
we're gonna have
the
to
more
Survivor,
the better, right?
And if someone's gonna have to be cast off here, just like Survivor.
For Fan of the Year?
Yeah, for Fan of the Year.
Y'all,
we need the
Captain
fan.
Morgan.
We need
It's
all
like
the
a
fans.
I don't know what it was about talking to Ashley that just made me far less stressed out than I was before.
You're less stressed?
Well, more stressed out.
Oh, it was like, you look stressed.
Yeah.
Well, give us some good news. There was some good news from the Cowboys portion of the injury report. We heard the portion about Packers.
Yes. So looks like Tyler Booker ankle, of course, did not practice. CeeDee Lamb ankle did not practice, and Deron Bland with the foot was a full participant yesterday, limited on Wednesday. Triquez Bridges also full, and Trayvon Diggs full on Thursday. We know how important that Thursday practice is. So this should give us a decent indicator of what's going to happen, or what hopefully today that these guys are ready to go. Dallas is getting some secondary players back, and they're gonna need it.
Yeah, that was the highlight of yesterday, because seeing Trayvon Diggs not practicing on Wednesday, I was like, let's just see what happens, because that's huge when you know Deron Bland is going to be coming into this game ramping up. And then Bridges, a depth piece, obviously that's important. Zion Childress, like you guys said yesterday, is made his way to his hometown now with the Texans. So if that's the positive we can pull out.
Yeah.
People are coming back or staying.
Well, and the
vice
positive,
versa.
the person that they added on the practice squad to replace Zion Childress, Corey Ballantyne, who's long time in the league, started off with the Giants as a 6th-round pick of them. He can play the inside. So Zion was going to be used to back up Reddy Stewart as the nickel corner. And without him going to Houston, you needed something behind Reddy Stewart, and so that's what they got with Ballantyne. And in fact, that's the position that he played for 2 seasons with the Packers.
Yeah,
is that position. So and actually played 16 games one year for them at that position. So
that's a positive.
Yeah, yeah. It's a guy with 70 career games coming in, and
they need all the help they can get.
They do.
And shout out to I think because the secondary has been so. That we wanted to make sure we point out Reddy Stewart.
Yes, he's played well.
He's played well, and honestly, him coming in and being able to play well is beneficial to you with getting a Deron Bland back, because now you can possibly kick Deron Bland out to the outside and maybe get a guy there. So, obviously we were talking about it before, like Deron Bland has to be in the slot, If Reddy Stewart can man that spot, then that gives you the opportunity to put Deron Bland on the outside, and maybe you get a little bit, better communication and stuff like that. Because he kind of stirs the pot on that back end as well. He's a very important element. So I just wanted to make sure we recognize Reddy Stewart and that he's came in and played well, and that him being here does make Trayvon Diggs and Deron Bland, coming back from, their injuries, okay. Makes it a little better to me.
Yeah.
What you got?
Well, I think what I want to do is I want to go to this final segment, and I have 2 very important questions that I'd like for each of you to ask.
Okay.
Because we've been doing the evaluation all week long, but it's going to come down to a couple of really key things, and I just want you to hash through that.
Okay.
And decide what needs to happen for the Cowboys to win, and then if they don't do something, then the disappointment of falling to the Packers.
We gotta narrow it down. There's so many things on the top of my head.
Oh my God.
And then we also on our new feature, we will be choosing our dog of the week. We will predict which Cowboy player will be the dog of the week for Farmer's Dog. We'll do that right after this break.
When you're on the field, you know what it takes to lead your team and play with confidence. But that confidence shouldn't just stop at game time. It should follow you off the field, too. Join over 500 NFL players who trust Invisalign, the #1 doctor-recommended clear aligner brand. Ready to take the first step towards a smile you'll love? Visit Invisalign.com/NFL and find a doctor near you today. Transform your smile and take your confidence to the next level, both on the field and off.
Cowboys fans, when it comes to navigating the ever-changing world of tax, your business needs a partner it can trust to tackle even your biggest tax challenges. Ryan is the largest firm in the world dedicated exclusively to business taxes. Our team of tax professionals has local expertise in all areas of tax and can help you uncover savings opportunities you didn't know you had. Learn more about how Ryan can improve your overall corporate tax performance by visiting Ryan.com. Ryan, the official tax partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
How does the cheerleader's hair always look so perfect? We asked, and they shared one of their biggest beauty secrets. If you want hair like theirs and confidence to match, use Babyliss Pro styling tools. The Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders use Babyliss Pro curling irons to get those perfect game day curls. To get the hair you see on the cheerleaders, head to BabylissPro.com. Use the code Cowboys20 for 20% off Babyliss Pro tools, the official styling tools of the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Get the discount while it lasts. Offer may be withdrawn at any time at advertiser's discretion.
Discover Aiden, the official luggage partner of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Known for top-tier engineering and craftsmanship, Aiden offers more than just bags. Originating from Australia and designed in New York, it merges fashion, design, and culture. Used by Dallas Cowboys players, staff, and the entire organization, Aiden provides style and functionality for all travelers. Visit AidenTheBrand.com and use code AidenXCowboys for 25% off your purchase. Travel like your favorite stars with Aiden.
Celebrate Oktoberfest at Rally Day presented by SeatGeek on Saturday, September 27th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Get ready to cheer on your Dallas Cowboys with tours of AT&T Stadium, plus enjoy festive games, German-inspired food, beer in a Cowboy Stein Cup, and more. Visit AT&TStadium.com/rallydays for tickets and more information.
Well, here's the thing. For a whole week, been trying to break this down, this matchup, and all of the personalities and all of the injuries, everything that's going to, try and put a little hitch in everything. But I want you to sum it up, everything that you have put together, all of your thoughts, and I'm going to have each of you answer 2 simple questions. And Aisha, we'll have you go first.
Oh, dang, I was going to
Here we go. Complete this sentence.
Okay.
The Cowboys will beat the Packers if
they can run the ball and sustain drives. That's it.
I had 2 in my head too, but I was like, I think they kind of go together.
Okay.
That's how I feel. If they can run the ball effectively, which has been difficult to do against the Packers until the fourth quarter last week. I even had to correct myself on how efficient they were against the run. But yeah, if they can run the ball and sustain drives, keep Jordan Love and those humans on the other side, not on the field, and to cash in the red zone, I think it will help them, maybe win. It's the Packers.
It's the maybe.
I don't like the Packers so bad. The whole time Ashley was talking, she was so happy. I was just looking I just wanted to throw up. Love Ashley, but I cannot. They are always the Cowboys' demise.
All right, Bree. The Cowboys will beat the Packers if
they can protect Dak Prescott and establish the run.
Come on.
It's all about protecting Dak.
Mm-hmm.
Please protect him.
Well, they said, did Dak talk yesterday? He said, we're going to be throwing tight ends and running backs.
They said something about they hope it's not painful. You know how that got a little misconstrued about Micah Parsons.
I hope it ain't me.
He said, I hope it's not painful either. And I hope he don't get a sack.
He said, I hope he don't touch me. Oh, what'd you
just protect him.
All right, here's the other one. Okay, Aisha. The Pack will make it a long night for Dallas if
they can't block the defensive line. I'm scared. If this offensive line, specifically Brock Hoffman, TJ Bass, some of these guys, if they can't block it up and this offense can't score, it's gonna be a long day.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It will be a long day if they cannot bring the pressure to Jordan Love. It's gonna be a long.
They gotta pinch him at least. Just breathe on him. Something. Something. I mean, but you're right. It's they have a rhythm and timing offense, and so the Cowboys are going to have to find ways to shake him up, disguise some things on the back end, or, to your point, Bree, get pressure on him, get him off platform, get him off his timing, and really try to disrupt that offense. My God.
And I will say, I know Matt Eberflus was talking about how his defense this week had the best practice, he thinks, all season on Wednesday, and certain guys are making improvements and what have you. But the difference in this game, I think, is Jadeveon Clowney looks like he is trending to take the field. I know there was a lot of optimism last week, but hearing from what he had to say at the locker room, hearing what Eberflus and Schottenheimer said, it sounds like he's going to be out on the field from what it's hearing. And I think that, not that it's going to be, again, not the why the Cowboys win or why the defense makes this change, but I think when we're talking about getting pressure,
he'll be effective.
Yeah,
I think he can be effective.
Want to make a prediction as to how many plays or range of plays that they're expecting from Clowney? What's reasonable? When he was 5 to 10, 20,
maybe
10 to 20 plays.
12 to 15.
12 to 15
I
plays
think
reasonable.
He hasn't played football in so long. But again, I think at this point, when you got Eberflus saying, well, you see the issue? I'm like, yes, we do. And that's why, Clowney is here. Straight up.
No.
It's a fact.
No, and him playing 12 to 15 ain't nothing, because when he was in Carolina, they had him rushing the passer consistently. Yeah. He was out there a lot.
Well, and playing the run.
And playing the run early downs.
He was playing 60 plays a game, 46.
So them starting him off low, I think he still can affect the game. I think his presence, even as a run defender, can help the game.
Okay, there we go. All right, so now here we go. Final prediction.
Okay.
This is with our partners at Farmer's Dog. We love them so much. My dog, Abby Bear, she loves to eat Farmer's Dog. But we need to know which Cowboy needs to lead this team to victory by being the dog of the week. Who is your Farmer's Dog of the week, as predicted for Cowboys Packers?
I'm going to go offense.
Okay.
Because we don't know what this defense is, but we know what this offense should be. And I'm going to say George Pickens, because it was a little bit of a letdown. He got going and halted and had the crash out on the sideline. I know he hears it. There's expectations of saying he can be a wide receiver 1. He's looking to get paid next year. This is the time to shine. CeeDee Lamb is not in the game. It's never what you want, but this is the time to shine. Lead that room.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with also Diggy Zua.
Okay.
I think he's had a kind of a quiet season to start. But I do believe that he can be disruptive in the middle of that offensive line, especially with some of the stuff that they have going on at the left guard spot and stuff. I hope that Eberflus mixes up some things. But also Diggy Zua, him getting some penetration, getting in the backfield, I think is going to be important, getting some of that pressure from the A-gap and B-gap on Jordan Love.
Yeah, I like that. Okay.
What you got,
Yeah.
Christy?
You know, I'm gonna say I'm gonna go with one of the safeties.
Okay.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Which one?
All of them.
Well, my first thought was Donovan and then Malik. I don't know, maybe Malik just in terms of with all of the communication and stuff. Although Dono's the one that usually ends up with the catalytic plays, right? Forcing a fumble and things like that. So
They said it's improved.
I'll be wishy-washy. Let's just see that he steps up, and I'll go Donovan Wilson. So anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
bounce back game.
Do y'all think the score is going to kind of get away? Do you think both teams are really going to put up quite a bit of points, or will the defenses?
You know,
I have real trauma from the Packers. I'm serious, y'all.
I mean, just watching what they failed to do against Cleveland, it's like, how could they not put up? Cleveland's got a really tough defense.
I think that the Packers, outside last week, their number they like to hit is 27. I think they come in and reach that. Now it's can the Cowboys match it? So that's my take on it. Both these teams at the end of the day, guys, they got embarrassed last week. Like, you should be embarrassed. So money was thrown at practice, Christy, yesterday, okay?
Yep,
So you can't throw money, and
Yep.
this was for the offensive side. You can't throw money during warm-ups and don't score.
They was
So,
making it rain.
They was making it rain, and I think it was bills that could have helped pay my mortgage this month. So I think it was real.
A little Fat Joe and Lil Wayne.
So Christy knows.
That's the music. They had the music going.
Yeah,
Christy be
copyright.
knowing.
I can't sing it,
Yeah,
but I
we
want
can't
this in
sing.
my head.
Christy be knowing.
Hey, invite those guys to the game. Maybe they'll. Maybe we'll get them to do halftime.
Let Micah tell
Or
it.
the
His
pre-
whole crew gonna be there. He said, "I still got a suite."
I
I
didn't even think about
Did you
that.
notice no refund? He couldn't get a refund.
He said he couldn't
on
get a
his seat.
refund, so he
That's
said, "My
crazy
people gonna be
work.
there."
Crazy work.
Mad crazy.
Dang.
And I love the nighttime games just because more energy, because you can compare it to the noon crowd that we had week 2. Then you turn around and have a Sunday night crowd. And let's just say that there have been several extra hours to become more well lubricated as the game goes along.
Oh Lord.
You get kind of the teetotaling crowd
They get saucy.
coming straight from church for the noon games.
From praising the Lord. Yeah, it's prime time. I mean, this is the time.
This is a big deal.
This is the time. This is what the Dallas Cowboys are about.
Are you-
National spotlight.
I mean, I know that the coaches and stuff have downplayed, what happened last time, but how do y'all think this game feels for the players or anything? I know that they aren't really acting like it's a big deal, but
Yeah, I wouldn't even say like so much is going into like what obviously the Packers have been able to do coming into AT&T Stadium in the past. I think it's more of where this team is at now, right? Like there was high expectations of this team. There's a lot of pressure on Brian Schottenheimer.
Yes.
This team does not want to fall 1-3 at this stage because everything only gets harder. Like neither one of these teams needs another L, back-to-back loss. And I don't think they're even thinking about that pass. But I will say, to your point, Aisha, there's no way in. Can I say?
Bleep.
Yeah, that. There's no way in that you get a win over the Packers, and that doesn't set the momentum for what's to come. You got to win against the Giants. This is the Packers, right? And everyone knows the history, but I think it's just at this point in the season, you're 1-2. The storyline is Micah Parsons, no matter how much you want to try to ignore it, right? This defense, even last year, when he wasn't on the field, your defense looked a lot different. That question comes up every week because it still looks a lot different. And you're still trying to figure things out. So if you can figure out how to get a win in scheme and all these other things, and your offense without CeeDee Lamb, without two of your starting offensive linemen, that is a statement. I don't care what anyone else says. And they're going to celebrate in the locker room like they're going to win, like it was a Super Bowl after. I promise you that, if they can pull it out. That's just what's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, that last time, that playoff loss, coming off the 13-win season and
getting the 2 seed too.
Wasn't that in the
getting the
documentary?
2 seed.
I'll never forget. Cowboys somehow got the 2 seed.
Was
some
that
things
the one
fell
that
their
Gary
way.
called the worst loss?
Yeah. Well, there's
a couple, but
it
was the Packers.
losing to the Houston Texans as an expansion team to open the 2002 season will be down there. That's one of them. And then for me, I have 3. The other one is the loss to Seattle in the playoffs, where going for the winning field goal when it slipped through Tony Romo's fingers. And then definitely the blowout loss at home.
I remember that one
to Green
vividly.
Bay. Yeah.
Because I was like, they did what?
Yeah, Aaron Jones has not been seen after that. All right. So we're just, but I agree. I think it's a big deal at this point in the season. And I really hope that, I feel like the coaches, the clipboard warriors is about to come on with it. They're going to have to come on with it this week.
And at the end of the day, it's the NFL. And if you didn't learn nothing from last week, anybody on any given Sunday could win, because a lot of parlays were messed up. Listen, that is that.
Well, hey, everyone enjoy the game. It's going to be, I think when we look back, the entire league is going to say this is going to be one of the best games of the entire season. And we get it at home. And hope that many of you are there in person. And the rest of you who watch the podcast, wherever you are watching the game, we know that you are totally invested. We invite you to join us again right here at this spot, 8 a.m. Central on Monday for Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Invisalign here in the SWBC broadcast studio for Bree, for Aisha, for Nicole, who'll be back. I'm Christy Scales. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you Monday.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?